The following presentation of this Channel 22 Sports Game of the Week is brought to you in part by a generous donation from the Holiday Inn Express Hotel and Suites, South Bay. The Holiday Inn Express is partnering with Channel 22 Sports to help promote our young people in sports competition and academics so that everyone in our community wins. The Holiday Inn Express Hotel and Suites. Stay smart. The following presentation of this Channel 22 Sports Game of the Week is brought to you in part by a generous donation from the South Bay Workforce Investment Board. The South Bay Workforce Investment Board is working together with Channel 22 Sports to promote an environment where everyone can maximize their career potential and so that all employers have the human resources they need to grow and prosper. The South Bay Workforce Investment Board. When you need us, we're there for you. And welcome to Lawndale High School, where Lawndale Hawthorne Community Television Channel 22 Sports is bringing you the high school game of the week, where the Lawndale High Cardinals are hosting the Inglewood High Sentinels. And good evening, everybody, along with Rufus Washington.
There you go. 1 out of 2 ain't bad.
And, yeah, I know. I'm sorry, buddy. It's been a long time since I've seen you. And Charity Bailey on the sidelines. I'm Lou Stowers. The Sentinels have the ball first and goal at the 1-yard line. There you see their big quarterback, number 11, Jarrell Brown, hands the ball off, tries to burrow his way into the end zone, and it is a touchdown. DeAndre Birdsong with 2 carries as the Sentinels had the ball at the 14-yard line after a bad punt by the Cardinals, Joseph Andrade. And 2 plays, and it's 6-0 at the 9:37 mark.
And Lou, one of the things that set up that scoring drive for the Sentinels was the very, very short punt. The Cardinals had first possession, went 3 and out. Then they drew a penalty on their 3rd down, which backed them up for the punt. So they punted from their own 1-yard line. It took a backward bounce. They didn't field it well. Sentinels had a very short field, and they capitalized.
Now, tonight's the Inglewood Sentinels, we were told by Charles Mincy as the kick is up after a nice recovery on the snap, and it is good. So it is 7-0 Inglewood over Lawndale, as the jerseys for Inglewood High School this year haven't made it to the high school yet. So Charles Mincy is working with a bunch of numbers that we're not going to know, as number 23 is not on the roster for this year. So whoever number 23 is made a good recovery and kicked it through. So it's 7-0.
And so it goes at this level. Sometimes it is a guessing game.
And there you see the head coach, Mando Padilla, with his assistants. And we're going to go down to Charity Bailey to talk about one of the injuries coming up on defense here. The linebacker for the Cardinals came up lame early on. So once Charity is ready down on the sidelines, we'll go to her and tell us all about the injury report. As the kickoff is made with the left foot, or it's taken by Luis Oliveira. Oliveira finds a nice hole, gets up to the 40-yard line and almost to the 40-yard line, and is tackled down there. So Luis Oliveira puts the Cardinals in business in the first quarter.
Luis Oliveira, Lou, one of the key players for Coach Badillo's team. I had an opportunity to talk to Coach Badillo a couple of weeks ago on Coach's clipboard, and this is one of the guys that he highlighted, and he gets some excellent field position, as we can see with the great kickoff return. This is a very small Lawndale team. They only have 2 guys that are even over 250 pounds.
Don't they have a lot of guys that are under 6 feet as well?
Exactly right.
I guess so. If they're under 200, they got to be under 6 feet. Handoff is made, and making a nice run up to about the 44-yard line. I believe that is Oliveira. Check that. That's Galvis Khan. Speaking of short, well, let's say not short. He's got a big heart at 5'7". So he makes a 6-yard gain. Make that a 7-yard gain, where it'll be 2nd down at about 3 yards to go, a long 3 yards to go.
This Cardinal team last year, Lou, was 4-6 overall. This is only their 2nd year of varsity competition. We here at Channel 22 recorded their first victory last year against Bishop Montgomery.
Handoff again to Oliveira, runs into one of his linemen, and that's going to be a loss on the play. of about 2 yards. So it'll be third down, more like about a 4-yard loss. So that's going to be a 3rd down and 6 play for the Cardinals. So
third down play is so big for this team, again, with their size and their small stature. They have to take advantage of each opportunity, and this is 3rd and long for them.
Rashad Scott, you saw there's one of the wideouts now as the handoff is made. Good hit up front by one of the Sentinel linemen, and nothing doing for the Cardinal. Maybe a 1-2 yard gain, but a good play by Galvis Can just to get some yardage out of that one.
They needed to get to about the 48. They made it to about the 44. So they're going to be about 4 yards short, which, again, is a punting situation. Once again, they're going to have to turn the ball over, this time ideally from their punt position. They should be able to pin the Sentinels back a little deeper in their own territory and give their defense a better opportunity than they had the first time.
Now Joseph Andrade going back into punt formation. And it appears that Dion Richardson is back to get the punt. And it's another short punt as it settles in at about the 37-yard line. And it'll be 1st and 10 for Inglewood when they bring their offense out.
Brings their offense and also gives us a better opportunity, I think, to assess the Lawndale Cardinal defense. I mean, when they had to go on defense last time, it was 1st and goal from about the 3-yard line. So that's really unfair to your defense. This time they've got a lot more field behind them, gives them a lot more flexibility in the kind of defensive sets that they'll come out with. Of course, we know that they feature, as Coach Padilla has indicated, a 4-4 defense.
Well, from what I've seen so far of Inglewood, granted it's only been 2 plays as they go into the Pro I set, this team does not look like it lost every single game last year as the ball is thrown and just dropped. Just flat out dropped on the play by Dante Hayes after a nice throw by Jarrell Brown.
Well, that's the receiver curse. He saw it, there was no defense there on him, but he was ready to run before he caught the ball. You got to look it into your hands first.
Absolutely.
Now, you mentioned about the Sentinel and their pro set offense. Of course, their head coach is first-year coach Charles Mincy, NFL experience, all Pac-10 player. The guy knows some football. So one thing, may be a long season for him. We'll find out that as it goes along. But these guys will learn a lot of football.
Brown barking out the signals. Looked like there was some movement, no flag. And now the rollout pass, that's incomplete as well, as DeAndre McDonald was the intended receiver for the Sentinels.
Right now, his receiver's not helping him very much as you've got 2 drops. Of course, that's not a recorded statistic in football, but I truly, and I've said this before, think that drops should be counted against the receiver as much as the incompletion is counted against the quarterback.
Let me tell you, they are counted Monday afternoon in the tape room, that's for sure.
You got that right.
Brown trying to get the Cardinal defense to go offside. There's a draw play. And let's watch the running back as he gets up around the 46-yard line.
Well, the Cardinals showed blitz on the play, Lou, and wow, and then they overplayed it. They were lucky not to have drawn the offside penalty because I thought they got into the neutral zone, but apparently the official didn't see it that way. But then after showing blitz, the running back for the Sentinels found the hold and made a pretty nice gain on it.
Birdsong gains 9 yards on the play. Birdsong with the 1-yard touchdown run has been the biggest weapon so far for the Sentinels. And some big movement as Inglewood trying to go before the snap.
And this will probably change the coach's decision now. It was 4th and less than a yard, and they were going for it. They were challenging this Lawndale Cardinal defense. Now it's 4th and 6. So there goes that strategy.
Right out the window as the punting unit comes on. So you could say that the Cardinal defense holds.
And you measure, as I've said, for a program like both of these programs, you measure victory, Lou, in small increments. And the fact that the defense was able to get in and hold on that possession to a 3-and-out was a huge victory for them.
Tawan Jennings and Luis Oliveira back to receive the punt from Inglewood. It's a low end over end. Oliveira picks it. Oh, he didn't pick it up. He just has to find the handle and sit on it right there at about the 23-yard line. So Oliveira couldn't handle that low line drive end over end kick, and it's a good thing that he got a handle on that one, Ruben.
Well, it's a good thing he had a partner back there to help him out. You're right, because that was nearly a turnover. Now we see a late flag coming in. Not quite sure what this call would be. One could only guess it's going to be some type of unsportsmanlike that someone may have said something to an official.
Or to somebody else down there. Whatever it is, it's to the Cardinals' favor. And it's a big one.
And that's a 15-yarder. Look, that brings them out to about the 38-yard line from what was the 23.
So that's good news for the Cardinals, who run the wing T offense. Quarterback tries to get out of the way, can't do it, and he is thrown for a loss by Larry Lockett. Justin Collins couldn't get anything going there. None of the receivers could find anything going.
And that's a huge loss when your quarterback holds on it for a long time. Maybe it was the best decision to have just eaten it, but takes the ball back to the 26-yard line, so a loss of about 13 on the play. Loss of about 12.
So 5:18 left to go in the first quarter. Handoff on the misdirection. Good reverse by Kenny Martin to get back into the field of play. So he would have also gotten thrown for a loss, but instead he gets a couple of yards out of that. Actually, a nice little gain of about 7 yards.
They're calling it a 2nd and 20. Like this, it's a second and a whole bunch, to say the least.
Oh, absolutely. So
they've got to get out near midfield in order to pick up the first down.
Handoff is to Carlos Lopez.
Ball comes loose.
And it's taken by Inglewood. So the first turnover of the ball game goes to Inglewood with 4:30 left to go in the first quarter, and the Sentinels already have a 7-0 lead. And it appears jumping on that ball was Jeremy McClellan.
And again, a very unfortunate turnover for the Cardinal offense. Once again, putting their defense in tough position as the Sentinels will take over on downs at the 30-yard line. And it's real hard to win football games when the opponent's playing with a 30-yard field.
You got that right. As Brown back to pass. Boy, he looks good throwing the ball back there as Birdsong gets it, and let's watch him run. Gets the first down on the far sideline. Finally runs out of bounds after he gets about 12 yards on the play. Was taken out by Luis Oliveira.
Birdsong, a senior, with a good-looking run. That appeared to be a screen play that they set up. They let the Cardinal defense come in, and boom, their quarterback dropped it right over the screen, and off to the races Birdsong went.
So it'll be 1st and 10 at the 18. Sentinels knocking on the door, and let's see if there's a fumble, or did he just hit his wallet?
Well, one official is indicating that it's going to be Cardinal football, and now the whole crew agrees with it. So
how about that?
Turnabout's fair play.
As Jarrell Brown kind of tripped over his center coming back after the snap, and gave the Cardinals the ball back with 47 left to go.
And you got to say, with 3:47 left to go and the Cardinals only down 7-0, actually they're quite fortunate to be in this position. This is a good thing. Of course, it's opening night, fans. First night of the season. Everybody's got a shot at the championship and being league champ and all that other good stuff.
That's right.
There's no night like it. Opening night.
Justin Collins hands the ball off. Nice spin move by Kenny Martin. Martin gets up to almost the 30-yard line. Good run by Martin.
And that was Keith McElhannon, number 3 for the Sentinels, who laid the lick on Martin because he was definitely in the open field and on his way.
So that was an 11-yard gain for Martin. And a first down.
We were talking about small victories. One small victory for the offense would be to get the ball across midfield.
And that is the first down of the ball game for the Cardinals, so that's a victory in itself as well, a good confidence booster as the left-hander tosses the ball, but he misses Kenny Martin, kind of threw it behind him. Justin Collins just couldn't find his mark there as Martin was wide open.
Martin was open, but for a left-hander, he was going away from him from the throw, and that makes it a little bit tougher, as if though that receiver were coming up the sideline and cutting in, and he's throwing the ball to him.
So now Justin Collins trying to talk to his coaching staff, and the coaching staff trying to figure out what play came in there. 3:02 left in the first quarter. First game of the season on Lawndale Hawthorne Community Television, Channel 22. Glad you joined us. Charity Bailey is prowling the sidelines. She'll bring us some updates as Collins hands the ball off to Martin. Martin trying to get away from a tackler as he extends himself and gets some nice yardage on the play.
Martin, a good running back, one of the key players that Coach Badillo is counting on in this their second year to help the Cardinals keep the forward progress that they're making. Last year at 2-3, they finished 4th place in the Pioneer League, which for a first-year program, one, to come out with 2 wins in league, 4 overall, was an excellent accomplishment for that team.
So let's see if the Cardinals can keep things going. With 2:18 left to go, have 3rd down and 6 to go. Martin has it up to the 35-yard line for another gain of about 3 yards.
Well, that was a wing tee that they ran on that play, and of course, one of the advantages of the wing tee is that what sets up a lot of misdirection, and it also throws a bit of confusion to the defense, not enough in this case for it to have prevented have earned the first down, so it's going to make it 4th and long. But some good things happened on that drive.
Yeah, the first down, and they didn't turn the ball over. That's always good news. Is getting set to punt the ball is Joseph Andrade. And oh my goodness, somebody got in the backfield there, but a nice punt as the ball gets back to the 36-yard line before it's downed by the Cardinals, and they turn the ball over to Inglewood.
Well, that kick was definitely nearly blocked, which would have been another turnover for the Cardinals, but they do get it away, and it takes a Cardinal bounce. So, once again, they go on defense, but with an opportunity with some good stiff defense, if they can get a hold here to get the ball back in good field position.
Christian Pacheco down the ball as he stays out on defense for the Cardinals as Jarrell Brown brings them up. He'll be back to pass. Looks downfield, wants to throw it long downfield, and overthrows everybody. His intended receiver was Dion Richardson.
Back to defend was Oliveira along with Rashad Scott. With the defense that they play, and if we get a view of that once the defense lines up again, they actually only have one back deep defensively, and that's a safety, and it's up to everybody else to get pursuit on the ball. That's the intent of this defense, is to pressure the ball up front.
2nd down and 10 from the 37. Jarrell Brown showing off his arm. Now he hands the ball off to Richardson. Makes a nice cut back to midfield to the 45-yard line. 40, 30. Can they catch him at the 15, 10, 5? Touchdown, Inglewood. A 63-yard run. Are there any flags? There is a flag back at the line of scrimmage. So a 63-yard run might be called back.
Well, if you're Lawndale players, your future is now, and it is against the Sentinels, so it's going to come back. It all goes for naught.
Wow, but that was a nice run, so there may have been some holding to help DeAndre Birdsong cut back. So maybe that was why there was a nice big hole for him.
It could have well been. I think the other thing that I saw, Lou, was that Oliveira came with the safety blitz. Well, once he wasn't actually a blitz, but once he saw the play running, and the holding is the call, as you see there. Okay.
And there was the hold there. Big old number 65, Eric Masalis, was held on the play. I believe that was Anthony Smith.
That's what the program says. Anthony Smith is a big kid, too, and won the replay, but you saw it clearly. Give the officiating crew a tip of the hat. They saw that one.
So a 10-yard loss, it'll be from the 27-yard line, 2nd down and 20. As Brown throws it, it's complete for about a 10-yard gain, finally being drugged down after an 11-yard gain.
Good pursuit to the ball by the Cardinal defense. We talk about this size factor, and folks, it will be a factor that they've got to contend with, but they're being coached to work against that liability. And one of the things there is that you see them swarm around the ball, because it's going to be hard for any one of their guys, and especially when they play some of the larger teams, to bring a guy down by himself. But once the first guy gets there, there are 2 or 3 other Cardinals in the area immediately, and it paid off that time.
So an 11-yard gain, it'll be 3rd down and 9 yards to go. Brown throws the screen pass. Breaking a tackle is number 20, David Freeman. Freeman is all the way down to the 30, the 25, 20, and finally brought down behind, and a nice tackle from behind by Carlos Lopez.
Carlos Lopez, Lou, with a touchdown saving tackle on the excellent run by the Inglewood Sentinels to get down deep now into Cardinal territory.
It appears that the ball is going to be somewhere around the 15-yard line as Brown sucks the defensive line in.
Another screenplay that you saw here, and again, some of this is just inexperience. It's a young football team, stopping play, but Lopez didn't give up on it, and he saves a touchdown.
Better than 50 yards on the play, but it's coming back again. So let's find out what happened as actually the first quarter's over. So that's why they're bringing the ball back.
Okay, I was getting ready to say this is almost unbelievable to have had 2 long runs like that brought back.
Okay. So the first quarter is in the books as the Inglewood Sentinels, with a big gain on the screen pass, get it all the way down to the 16-yard line of the Cardinals, and that's where we'll start the second quarter. 7-0 Sentinels.
And this is where for a young football team like this is where disappointment can start to set in, and a little bit of frustration, and you start hanging your head. Coaching staff has got to keep these guys pumped up. All things considered, to be starting the second down only 7-0 is a moral victory of sorts. Of course, those don't show up in the paper on Saturday morning, but for this team, again, they've got to take that, and now they've got an opportunity to stiffen their backs a little bit and see what their defense can do, even though they're deep in a defensive hole.
Jarrell Brown brings them up. Birdsong is the lone back. He gets the ball, goes right up the middle, and gets across the 15-yard line. Good pursuit by the Cardinals defense.
And I'm not sure if we have replays available tonight or not, but one of the things you would have saw there was what I was mentioning earlier. The person making the initial hit for the Cardinals has to slow down, if not bring down. Your coach, first of all, expects you to be able to bring down the offensive guy if you get a hand on him, and they're breaking that initial tackle.
So the ball is on about the 13-yard line of the Cardinals. Brown brings them up. Back to pass. Screen pass to Birdsong. Trying to follow his blockers inside the 5, 10, and is in for the touchdown. So good blocking on that one. A nice set play by Inglewood. And another touchdown by Birdsong and Inglewood. It's 13-0.
Well, it's a screenplay that they've run all night long and run it to success virtually every time.
So as the sun sets, it's a beautiful sunset as we look over on that side of the freeway, or that side of the field, I should say, where the 405 is. Unfortunately, it's a 13-0 score. And mystery number 23, the left-footed kicker for Inglewood, is going to take it out of the hold of Dion Richardson. And the ball is up, no good.
Well, they actually signaled good on that, and
well, they did.
A slow, deliberate call, but finally they gave it so. And you see here once again, that's Birdsong with the play. Now watch as he goes up the middle. There's one missed tackle. Here come a couple more guys, 33 and 42.
But he had such good blocking up front that not a red jersey could really. So some good running by Birdsong after the catch for a 12 touchdown. Birdsong's second touchdown.
So no offense again, looking to put their first point of the season on the board. Once they get their hands on it, they will be receiving, and it's time for them to make something happen. They've got a lot of fans out tonight. This is one of the things that in the 2 years that we've covered Lawndale is that they've got excellent fan support, and the fans are out again tonight.
Christian Pacheco, you saw on the sideline getting his shoulder taped up. And injuries before and during the game for Inglewood, as returning the ball or downing the ball was Galvis Can. Injuries have been, unfortunately, biting the Cardinals.
Can, another one of those players that is being counted on this year as a returning player, one of the key returners for the Cardinals.
First possession of the second quarter for Lawndale, trailing 14-0 to Inglewood. As the ball is handed off to Kenny Martin going around the end on the wing tee. Gets some good yardage up to the 42-yard line.
Excellent run that time by Martin.
So for Martin, the leading ground gainer for the Cardinals, gets 7 yards on the play. And it'll be second down and 3 yards to go.
2nd and 3, and they're at the 43. We're looking for a small objective here. There you see Martin as he goes around the left side. Just kind of sticks his head in there. He's got his all heart. This time he's going to come the opposite way.
And it's sniffed out by the defense. Sniffing him out there was Cameron Graham. And Martin might have lost a couple of yards on the play. It's a loss of about 3.
Those linemen up front, we've got to give a little better push for him than that to give him an opportunity to get his wheels going in a forward motion. When you're having to retreat off the handoff to find lanes to run in, that almost always spells trouble.
Rashad Scott is the lone wide receiver to the near side. Martin in motion. The ball is handed off to Trayvon Thomas. Thomas trying to get some of those yards back that was lost. And I believe he got about 2 on the play.
Looks like it's going to bring up a 4th down, though, and I think if you're Lawndale, considering that you're already down by a couple of touchdowns, you've almost got to kick this one, even though it's 4th and 2 and you're out near midfield.
Well, I don't see the punting unit on yet. Yes, there he is. There's Joseph Andrade. He will kick the ball away to Inglewood. And back deep, I would assume, is DeAndre Birdsong.
Now timeout taken by the Cardinals, and probably a pretty good timeout as we've got 8:50 left here in the first half. again, it's a situation where the two scores that Inglewood has gotten so far, one's come off of a turnover, and another one came off of excellent field position by virtue of a poor punt, which was the same effect as a turnover. So other than those two factors, the Cardinals have pretty much been in this, and their defense, all things considered, I got to give them credit, is not playing too bad.
No, they aren't. That's for sure. And this Inglewood team is coming off of a winless season, have a brand new coach. Charles Mincy was an assistant at his alma mater, Dorsey High School, after wanting to try to apply for the Huskies job, Washington Huskies job, where he was a member of that team in the Pac-10, also the defensive MVP of the Rose Bowl in '91. And he decided to come here better. We were joking after the game he might have a better record with Inglewood in Seattle.
Right.
But the Cardinals looking good as Andrade kicks it high, and punt is fumbled. I believe it's recovered right away.
Flag on the play. I think they may get the Cardinals for running into the return man on this play.
As Deion Richardson was the man. So we have a full schedule of games this fall, not only in football on the gridiron, but also on the hardwood, as the young ladies of the volleyball team, they will show their stuff as well.
In fact, we've got a volleyball contest coming up next Tuesday, Lawndale at Lusinger girls volleyball.
Be a hot and heavy one.
So for you Channel 22 sports fans, as we see the replay there, still don't get an indication of the flag, except it's going to go against the Sentinels.
Some sort of a personal foul or illegal illegal block. Probably an illegal block because it's all the way back to the 26-yard line. 8:49 left to go in the first half. 14-0 Inglewood with the lead and the ball. As Brown back to pass, wants to heave it downfield as a man. No, it's intercepted. Intercepted by Luis Oliveira. Oliveira gets to midfield and out to the 47-yard line. And the Cardinals are in business with another turnover.
Cardinals are in business, and Luis Oliveira, we've called his name several times tonight. Again, obviously, as you see him there on your screen, 5'8", 150-pound senior. The key guy for this Lawndale Cardinal team.
So that's the second turnover of the game for Inglewood. And the first interception on Jarrell Brown.
And another small victory, albeit by the defense. For the first time, the Cardinals hit the ball in Sentinel territory.
8:31 left to go in the first half as the ball is kept by the quarterback. Nice move by Justin Collins, who gets back to the line of scrimmage.
Collins with a nice rollout. A little slow to make the decision as to whether to keep it or throw it. I think if he had made the decision to keep it a little bit sooner, may have gotten a little more positive yardage on that play.
Brandon Thomas with the stop for Inglewood. He's 2nd down and 10.
Of course, what the Cardinals are trying to do, Lou, is you can't just hand the ball off to Martin time after time after time. Pretty soon, it doesn't take these defenses long to figure that out, particularly when you've got an defensive player over there on the other side. So they're trying to use the pass when they can.
As now Collins back to pass, gets away from one man, throws it, and just barely gets away. As he throws it, he was being tackled at the time.
And fortunately, Oliveira was at least in the vicinity of the pass. Otherwise, that could have been intentional grounding. I saw the back judge give it a long, hard look, but he had the angle and decided that Oliveira was close enough that he wouldn't throw the flag on him.
Jeremy McClellan had his paws all over Justin Collins. There you see a good shot of Justin. Under center, wing T formation. The ball goes to Kenny Martin. Martin, actually, it was misdirected away from me. as the ball was taken to Carlos Lopez. Lopez has a first down.
And a big first down for the Cardinal offense. In fact, that's their first down that they've earned in Sentinel territory, as it takes them down near the Sentinel 30, inside the 35, but hold everything.
What do we got going here? Was there a flag down?
There's a flag on the play.
And unfortunately, that might mean holding. But nope, it's against Inglewood. Personal foul. And the personal was ejected. Whoever it was got kicked out of the game.
Well, we'd sure love to. If we get an opportunity to bring it out on a replay, we see.
No, the referee made the big move. Did you see that heave ho? He's out. Heave ho. So it goes all the way down to the 19-yard. There goes Kenny Martin. Kenny Martin gets around the 20-yard line, down close to the 15-yard line, and that really puts some wind in the Cardinals' sails, Rufus.
Martin, a good edge runner. That is, he gets outside the tackles and tries to turn the corner, and does, as you say, picks up about 3 yards on that play.
So it'll be down and about 6 yards to go. Make it a long 6. Justin Collins looks at his mates on the line, barks out the signal, wants to change it. Now he wants to call the timeout. Didn't like what he saw. And with 9 left to go in the first half, down 14-0. Mondo Padilla wants to go out and see what's going on with this team.
And it's a good timeout. Good timeout, good decision by the young quarterback. Recognize that first there was some confusion among his players, and secondly, there's 2 opportunities where they are right now, inside the 20 down. They're inside the 15-yard line. You don't want to waste this type of opportunity.
You certainly don't, especially with the clock on your side right now. And you can cut that lead in half, get on the board against a team that's bigger and has some big bodies there. You can see number 56 and number 55 for Inglewood, just some big bodies over there on the other side of the sideline. And a good way to start off the season as you fly towards Pioneer League action.
You got that right. In fact, after this play, I'll set that thought up for you, because I did talk to Coach Padilla about that, because, you know, the coaches have a lot of flexibility in who they schedule in the preseason. And it's done with certain objectives in mind for your team in terms of preparing them for league play.
Sierra Vista is up next for the Cardinals. Right now they have the white and blue Inglewood Sentinels to think about, where it's second down and 5 to go as Collins gets away from one man but can't get away from the linebacker, and he is taken down. Kalen Dandy.
They hold on to that one. A lot of strip attempts by the Sentinel football players.
And that might be from that defensive-minded head coach over there, but a loss of 4 on the play, so that'll be 39 for the Cardinals. So after a timeout, Rufus, that's pretty much what you don't want to do.
Ball's at the 19. They need to the 9 to pick it up. Like I say, this is a key third down play for the Sentinels.
To at least get into field goal range, some good field goal range for the Cardinal kicker. Pitch goes to Martin, spins, gets 15, close to the 10-yard line, but it's not going to be close enough,
but
as it'll be 4th down and about 3 yards to go.
Well, this is gambling time here, Lou. This is where, since it's now the national craze, this is where the poker players come into play, actually given the spot.
Is that where you spent your summer?
I wish. Now, I'm a little tighter with my money.
Oh, that's right. I've seen your wallet. Your prize, when you open it up, it's so tight.
What appeared from my vantage point initially to be what would be a 4th and a very short, actually is 4th and about 3 yards. So
They're going to go for it on 4th down. Wide to the near side as Rashad Scott. As the ball is handed off to Kenny Martin. Martin gets across the 10, close to the 5-yard line. Down Cardinals.
That's Coach Padilla showing a lot of confidence in his football team in all aspects of it. Offensive line and his running back Martin, who you see there on your screen, 5'9", 148-pound Kenny Martin, and they deliver for him. And early in the season, that type of move, that type of coaching decision can go a long way.
So a big 4th down play, 4th and about 5. So now it's 1st and goal from the 5-yard line. Pitch back to Martin, gets to the 5, but can't get away from a man down to the 4. And a nice open field tackled by Robert Jackson. Boy, Martin could smell that end zone and was just one man away with 4:08 to go and running in the 2nd quarter.
Running stronger. Still trying to get to the edge, as they call it, because at his size, a little bit small to run up the middle, so he has to take the outside route.
So it'll be 2nd down and goal from the, call it the 6-yard line. It looks like it's inside the 5-yard line, though. As the ball is handed off right up the middle, touchdown, Lawndale. Gelvis Can goes right up the middle on the misdirection, and it's 14-6, Cardinals trail.
So it takes them a little while, but the Cardinals get their first touchdown of the new season, courtesy of Gelvis Can.
So how about that, Gelvis? Gelvis didn't leave the building. He went into the end zone.
Very productive drive for the Cardinals on that one. That will instill a lot of confidence in this team. Several things went their way. The first of which, and the most important call, was by Padilla to go for it on 4th and 3.
That was the big play. You're absolutely right, Rufus. As Amezquita wanted to get that extra point try, but there's yellow flags all over the place.
Too many men on the field, as we saw. Gosh, they must have had 13 guys on the field. Saw 2 guys hustling. You know, sometimes you'll get 12 on the field, but
yeah, Mondo's talking right now.
And what Mondo is doing, fans, and I can tell you, because, again, when I said I talked to him, it was a real delight. And he understands his personnel. He understands that these guys are young. A lot of them are new to the game. Remember, this is only their 2nd varsity season as a school. So some of these kids have only had 1 or 2 years playing experience, and they're still learning the game.
Just wanted to get out there. Snap back, it's high, but a nice kick by Amezquita, and it's through and true. 14-7, the lead's cut in half. So how about that, as Mondo with the big gamble, and it pays off as Gelvis rumbles into the end zone from about 5 yards out after the big 4th down call, as Martin went about 5 yards to get that 1st down.
And it can't emphasize it enough how good a possession that was for the Cardinals. Really did them well. They capitalized. One, they moved the ball effectively throughout the drive. Got 1 or 2 penalties that went their way. No harm in that, since so many had gone against them.
Yeah. There you see the touchdown run. He just held on to it like coaches tell you to do.
Right. And the difference was there, and I know fans are saying, well, Rufus, you just said they go around the edge. Well, Can's 175 pounds. He's got a little, and you saw his thighs. He's hard to bring down. So he is better suited for going up the middle.
And then another aspect of that, Rufus, is that Inglewood may have been expecting to go around the edge. So the middle was wide open when Gelvis went through. Went in pretty much untouched. He had to fall down all by himself.
Right.
Amezquita will put his foot into it and send it deep downfield, and
Wow.
It goes out of the end zone. Nice boot by big old Miguel Amezquita, 5'9", 210 pounds. That's a guy.
That's an excellent kickoff too, Lou. Kick one of the fortes that we've seen over the years here in the South Bay. But I tell you, I've just been impressed with his kicking, both on the kickoff, which actually was the first time that we had a chance to see him kick off this season, and to get it in the end zone. That also does wonders. You take away the return opportunity, a small but important thing, means you go out, you set up defense at the 20-yard line.
So 3 minutes and 39 seconds left to go in the first half, and we got ourselves a ball game and an offside call, coachman call as well, as the Cardinals were just a little bit too anxious to get in there. Number 73, Michael Stevens, and he'll come and talk to coach about it as Robert Pierce comes in, takes over for him, where it'll be 1st down and 5. Be 1st and 5 from the 30-yard line.
Operating out of the eye, they give it to the second back through. That's
Birdsong
in the open field, Lou.
And he gets down to the 40. Nobody's going to. Oh, he does not go down all the way in for the touchdown. Let's check for flags. Don't see any. A 70-yard touchdown run by DeAndre Birdsong. Oh, my goodness.
And you're right. That's the first thing we have to do. We've been trained in this game is to look for flags.
Check, that's a 75-yard run, Rufus.
I was going to let you slide on that. I knew DeAndre would after the game because those 5 yards could be the difference in a 1,000-yard season.
I tell you, he's been racking them up today, that's for sure. Let's watch him run.
The replay. Once again, he gets around the corner. Good cutback. A couple of Cardinals run into each other. Again, that is football technique. That's about learning your lanes and staying in your lanes. One last good effort being given there by number 33 as he lunged for him. That was Tawan Jennings, but Jennings couldn't bring him down. In fact, wasn't able to force him out of bounds. And they scored an extra point. So, on one play, they get back what they just gave up.
That's right, one play, 75 yards. Birdsong with the run. That's his 3rd touchdown of the game. And it's 21 to just like that.
Wow, and that was in 12 seconds. We recorded the Cardinal touchdown at the 3:39 mark, 3:14 here in the second quarter. The lead extended back to 14.
Kind of shocking these Cardinals fans here at Lawndale High School. What a nice facility this is. Has a beautiful track, beautiful football field.
Well, it's one of the things, Lou, that they're hoping, and this is what they're telling kids in the South Bay area, because they do have excellent athletic facilities here. They also have excellent academic facilities, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But they're hoping that a lot of kids will understand that the quality of tools that they work with here are, in fact, superior to any other school in South Bay.
High end over is fielded at the 20-yard line, and a nice of about 9 yards for Tawan Jennings. 1st down and 10 as the ball is marked at about the 28-yard line.
We've got 3:09 with here left in the first half. Cardinal offense will need to accomplish a couple of things. They certainly want to obviously score, but short of that, they need to get this ball from out of the shadows of their own end zone.
Jennings, Justin Collins, I should say, brings him out in the wing tee. Back to pass, steps up in the pocket. Pocket breaks. He'll have to get up across the 30-yard line and does, for a gain of maybe 1 yard. As defense by Inglewood looked pretty good downfield.
Jennings looking to throw on these plays, but the secondary defense of the Inglewood Sentinels is so good that he's not finding an open man, and by then his protection is breaking down.
So the Cardinals trying to get something done before into the locker room. Had to have the lead, but then Birdsong said, wait a minute. And now it's 21-6 as Collins gives it off to Martin. Martin with a gains about 6 yards on that one.
It's a good game by Martin. Sets up a 3rd and short. Looks like it's going to be about 3rd and 2. Need to get out to the 40. They're going to spot it at about the 38.
So just trying to eat up some time on the clock, and maybe they can break one in for a touchdown. Maybe get in full range, but the clock is counting down at 1:45 and counting. It's Justin Collins. Barks out the signals. Gives it to Martin. Martin goes around the far side, breaks one tackle, and I do believe he lost a or two on that one, Rufus.
Well, he certainly didn't get the first down. It had Can out as the lead blocker. In fact, I up here thought that they might have given him the ball since he's more of a power back. The middle, they didn't do it. They come up a little short as we've got an injured Sentinel down on the field.
And that's one of the portions of this wing T running attack, is they want to wear you down, that's for sure, but not put you down on the ground for that long. Probably just got the wind knocked out of him, let's hope. But the Lawndale Cardinals trying to improve on a 4-6 season last year and 2-3 in the Pioneer League.
While we've got a timeout on the field, Lou, due to the injury, it gives us a chance to, as you'd already mentioned, or let the fans know, we've got a girls volleyball game coming up next Tuesday. That's Lawndale at Lusinger. It'll be brought to you right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. And it's an early season contest, but next Friday night, we'll be over at Lusinger for the annual Clash of the Titans.
That should be
between
fun.
The Hawthorne Cougars and the Lusinger Olympians. And that one will have a packed house. Be a good game, and we know you fans will join us. Of course, we got a lot of football left here, but we'll talk about everything we've got coming up this season.
The injured player was James Brown as punting comes on. Kicks it to about the 40-yard line, gets a Cardinal bounce. It goes out of bounds at the 36-yard line.
A minute left here in the first half. Your number one objective now, you're down 21-7 already. You just gave up a 75-yard score on their last possession. Is you want to control the damage here, Lou. You want to get out of this. You'd love to force a turnover and pick up points, but at a minimum, you want to go in that locker room down by no more than 14.
Absolutely. So let's see if the defense can hold. And let's see how much of a gamble it would be for Brown to get the ball to Birdsong behind him. Back to pass is Brown. Ball downfield, almost picked off by Andrade out there in right field for the Cardinals.
And that was a turnover we were looking for. The Sentinels almost helped him out. You're right. I mean, that went right through, and you can see Andrade's own frustration. He knows that one was his.
Give me one more shot at that. So 45 seconds left to go.
So the Sentinels on that play, they were going for the go-home score.
That's right. They're just going downfield trying to get into the house. Nice comeback, but Brown goes to a safety valve and a nice defensive pressure and read by the Cardinals to snap out.
Good fundamental tackling on that play. As you can see, they went low. We see the last time out being used. Looks like that's going to be from the scoreboard. Okay, the Sentinels take that timeout, I believe. It's going to be a 3rd and long for them.
3rd and about 10. So on the first 2 plays, they did not go to their big man, DeAndre Birdsong, with 3 touchdowns already. Maybe he's a little wore. He's wore out after that 75-yard jaunt. I doubt it.
I doubt it. Now, The more you score, the more you want to score.
That's true. If you get a nose for the end zone, you just want to keep on going. But the Cardinal defense did a good job of sniffing that last screenplay out, as maybe Charles Mincy, the head coach of Inglewood, was thinking they could catch the Cardinals sleeping and get something done underneath.
Well, right now the Cardinal defense is real alert out there. Again, they forced this third down play, and they've been challenged because there were a couple of pass attempts there, one completion, and now it's going to be up to them to get a third down stop and maybe even get the ball back.
30 seconds left to go. Another screen pass, down the sideline, and a pass down to downfield, but I believe he was out of bounds.
And I think that's going to be a penalty. I was looking at the rules the other day, Lou, and one of the new rule changes that I saw, maybe it's not okay. They're going to call it fourth down. But I did see something in the rules about, of course, they call that a lateral.
Yeah,
because there's a rule change
close.
That's coming in that says only one forward pass may be thrown during a down. But
okay.
You had a and then a forward pass.
Appeared to be a wide receiver screen, but like you said, it turned into a lateral once the wide receiver.
The Cardinals are going to get this back, Lou, in what should be pretty good field position, and Coach Charles Mincy decides he wants to talk it over because he realizes that with 25.6 seconds and them getting the ball back, a couple of good things could happen for this Cardinal football team. So
That's
they
right.
played that series of downs the way a good football team should. And I think what we're seeing and what we've seen in this for long, Lou, is this team is growing right in front of us.
The Cardinals. That's absolutely true. And good coaching, it doesn't matter how big you are on paper, it's how big you are inside there and if you can get the job done.
Well, as one great philosopher once said, you can't learn it.
That's true.
And they're learning right now.
That's true. I don't know if there's any frustration across the way as you're looking at Inglewood now. As there you see Charles Mincy off to the left there with his hands right now, talking with his hands.
Well, I got to say for this Cardinal football team, as we're 25 seconds away from the locker room, but for one large play, two scores one off of a true turnover, and the second one off of what should be considered a turnover, considering the distance on the punt, and then it took a backward bounce, and that was on the first set of downs. They've only given up one big play in this game.
That's right, the 75-yard run by Birdsong, who has 3 touchdowns. So they'll punt the ball over. As back to receive it is Tawan Jennings. He's the deep man on the near side. Nice high spiral kick, and the ball is taken. Ball is taken by Luis Oliveira. Oliveira with a turn and getting close to out of bounds to stop the clock, and he did with 15 seconds left to go. So Luis with a good run back to about the 46-yard line, Rufus, and stop the clock.
And he showed a huge heart on that play, Lou. I mean the Sentinel special teams were barreling down on him. He could have easily signaled for the fair catch or let that one go. The guy doesn't signal fair catch. He catches the ball and off and makes positive yardage on the kickoff return, on the punt return.
That's right. He could have just had the fair catch, and that would have stopped the clock.
Well, with 15 seconds, I'd get a couple of cracks through the air at it, but you got to get it and behind the defenders. You don't want to throw anything in front of the defense and risk it being intercepted.
Collins throws it downfield, going for Luis Oliveira, but it's just a bit too long, as closing in on him was Brandon Thomas.
But I like that throw, Lou, even though it was incomplete. He did exactly what we just said, was that he had to throw the ball behind the defense. You don't want to throw in front of the defense and give any of these upbacks an opportunity to make their interception. If your guy can't catch it, nobody should be able to catch it.
So that leaves 8.3 seconds left to go. As jogging in with the play is Rashad Scott, number 5. Now Justin Collins relay it to the rest of the Cardinals. in their bright red uniforms. Well, they're looking sharp tonight. Collins back to pass.
This time the Sentinels a little bit deeper.
And decides with it. Gets about 8 yards on the play as the siren sounds to end the first half of play.
A good first half, though, of football, first of all, for all high school football fans. Cardinal fans will be a little to go to the locker room down 21-7, but there are a number of positives that they can take away from their first half performance and some things they build on. I still think we got a good football game ahead of us, Lou.
Oh, absolutely. This isn't out of hand by any means as Mondo Padilla walks off the field. And we will take this timeout. We'll be back with the second half with the score Inglewood 21, Lawndale 7. You're watching the high school game of the week on Lawndale Hawthorne Community Television Channel 22. All right, the third quarter is just underway as the opening kickoff came up. It's 21-7. And the Cardinals have the ball to start off the third quarter.
Tawan Jennings with that return, Lou, as he brought it out. Got a pretty decent return to start this second half. Again,
and
they start down 21-7, but they get the ball first.
That's right, as Justin Collins hands the ball off. And a good gain of about 6 yards to start off the second half. And Charity Bailey will have an update as soon as she is ready from down on the field with the score 21-7 in favor of Inglewood. And if Charity's ready, let's go down to see Charity. After the next play, okay, as Justin Collins brings him out. Martin with the ball, goes around, now cuts back in. A first down up to about the 34-yard line. And a nice gain of about 4 yards. And now let's go down to Charity.
I caught up with the coach at the end of the first half. He said when he goes in, he's going to let his team know that they're still in the game. Offense is doing well, he says, but defense needs to step it up. They've also had some key injuries, one being during the pregame warm-up. Gotti Asanza, number 53, a linebacker. He was hurt. They took him in and checked him out, and they said he won't be back in this game, and they don't know when he'll be expected to be back. Back to you.
Galvis Can with the ball, and he makes a gain of about 4 yards, so it'll be second down and about a long 5 yards, about 6 yards, as the Cardinals are starting to move this ball right out of the gate in the third quarter, Rufus.
They certainly are, Lou, and as I was sitting here watching these first couple of plays, one, they're continuing to be very effective on the ground. Their backs are running strong. But still, I think in this half, they've got to establish the pass a little bit more than what they were able to do in the first half in order to have a legitimate shot.
Can with another run of about 2 yards, so it'll be third down and a long one. We'll call it 2. We'll give you some halftime numbers as well, some impressive numbers by both of these teams. As the handoff goes to Jennings, got to the first down line, was stopped and goes for about another 2 yards. So a nice gain by Jennings for 4 yards and a first down.
Good pickup of the first down. Ball came loose long after the play was over. Officials right on top of that.
But Trevon Jennings carried that ball and checked that. That was Trevon Thomas.
And you're right, the Cardinals have come out moving it effectively. They're already in Sentinel territory.
Collins hands the ball off to Thomas again. Thomas has 3 red or yellow flags in the air. And we'll find out what that is. Usually that's a hold. Is that now we see number 33, Tawan Jennings, carrying the ball.
A lot of flags in this contest, not of a surprise there. I think the officials are doing a quality job of calling the game. What you have, fans, are two young football teams that are relatively inexperienced, and these flags are a reflection of that.
And John Lundquist is our referee, calls holding, and that really hurts the Cardinals as that sends it back 10 yards, so it'll be first down and 20 yards to go. All the way back to the 44-yard line. We'll call it the 40-yard line, a 48-yard line.
Now, if we're 5 weeks from now, Lou, and we're still getting this many flags in a game, then that would be a sign that the team has not progressed as much as you would like.
Handoff is made to Martin, was hit in the backfield, tries to get back to the line of scrimmage, might have been a yard short.
Lost a couple on that play, but I'll tell you, the difference between it being a 2-yard loss and a 10-yard gain, sometimes it's just the luck of a defender getting his hand on you, and that time Martin almost break that one.
Sure did, and in the first half, Kenny Martin was 12 carries for 36 yards, Gell and 4 carries, 22 yards and a touchdown. Collins for -3, Lopez 2 carries, no yards, Trevon Thomas 1 for 2 yards. Is now Collins, throws it downfield, has a man open, it is caught, gets behind the defense and into the end zone. Touchdown Cardinals, Rashad Scott.
Excellent play. That's what I talked about, Lou. I said you got to use the pass in this half if you're going to have a chance to win. Excellent throw, excellent catch. Everything works. Collins to Scott. Maybe a combination that we'll be calling quite often this season.
That's the first hookup tonight, and that was a 54-yard lightning bolt by Justin Collins to Rashad Scott. So now the exclamation points is now we see that nice throw. Got behind the defense. As the kick is up, it is true and through. So with 7:46 left to go in the third quarter, there you see the quarterback, Justin Collins, 5'11", 160-pound junior, just threw a 54-yard bomb to Rashad Scott to make it 21-14.
There you see the replay again, and this one is a season highlight for both of these. I'm sure there'll be many others to come. What a way to get opening night started. And that was, like I said, a rollout. Collins finally let it go, and I think that was one of the things. I wasn't in the locker room, I'll tell you that, fans, but my observation was that he was holding it just a little bit long. That time he had some confidence, went ahead and let it fly. 6 points.
Absolutely right. And that was probably the nicest play run, but the Cardinals were starting to get it done on the ground and maybe caught Inglewood a little flat-footed.
They certainly did. I'll tell you what, I guarantee they've gotten the Sentinel attention now, because we're back to a 7-point ball game with 7:45 left here in the third quarter. Lots of football time left. So the Cardinals are right back in the thick of it. Gives us a chance as they prepare to kick off, to tell you that the proud sponsors of Lawndale Hawthorne Community 22 sports coverage is Holiday Inn Express and the South Bay Workforce Investment Board. It's because of those two fine organizations and their sponsorship of our broadcasting that we're able to bring you this contest in part tonight. Of course, always with the fine folks at the Hawthorne Cable Usage Corporation, as well as the Lawndale Cable Usage Corporation.
I want to thank everybody for helping out. And the crew here as well is a nice big boot again. Miguel Amezquita, the 5'11", 245-pound senior kicker. Also offensive tackle that's been protecting Justin Collins all night and doing a really good job all night long.
And I got to tell you, I think Amezquita, I mean, he's built in the mold of Janikowski with the Raiders. He's a pretty hefty guy at 175.
Well,
right now. Actually, 245.
That's right. You get.
Yeah, I just put him on the 10-second diet. You know?
That new South Beach diet, or whatever the heck it is. So, Birdsong is up to his old tricks. Goes to the far sideline for a gain of about yards.
I was going to say, Mosquito, wow. I mean, what a weapon to have, though. A guy who can put it in the end zone kickoffs. That means that you're getting you're getting good, guaranteed defensive position every time.
And we have a holding call against Inglewood, so it'll go back to the 10-yard line. First down and 20 yards to go. Inglewood shooting themselves in the foot. And that'll do good for the Cardinal defense, not only to see their offense score a touchdown, but now really pin Inglewood and that high potent offense back. Back to pass. Looks across field, throws it, and the man but falls down. That was Marlon Johnson.
Short gain on the play. Looks like he picked up about 3 or 4 yards from where we're sitting. Had open field. Again, one of the rules, fans, for those of you who may be new to high school football, if you go down, if a knee touches the ground, you're down. Doesn't matter whether by defensive contact or not.
So that'll be third down, about 17 yards to go. Brown comes field, makes the catch, but a nice open field tackle by Tawan Jennings, after it was made by Dion Richardson. So it was about a 7-yard pick.
Good play on both sides of the ball on that one. Certainly the good tackle by Jennings. Things that I saw was Elvis Can was picked up by the back who stayed in. Can on the blitz, and the back picked him up, gave him an opportunity, gave the center an opportunity to get the pass out in the flat. Then, of course, I gave him a chance to do his thing.
Well, you just saw DeAndre Birdsong talking to quarterback Jarrell Brown. They might have something cooking here on third down. Now Brown rolls out, throws in the dirt. Threw that one to Marlon Johnson, and you can see the defender saying no good. It's fourth. The Cardinals hold. It'll be down and 11 yards to go.
So an excellent set of downs. This Lawndale team, Lou, has come out the locker room. They're on fire.
They are. They came up with the wind at their sail underneath their wings, that's for sure, as the running game got going, and then the big 54-yard pass from Collins to Scott. Back in to receive the kick is Luis Oliveira, and Tawan. High kick. It's going to be short.
Kick. They got it.
And Oliveira takes it and then pays for it. He got zipped at about the 38-yard line, but he gets up and comes back off like, that didn't hurt.
Wow.
Could hear that all the way up here.
You could hear it. I'm sure at some point as the season wears on, they may encourage him to be a little more judicious in his return. But the guy, I mean, the moves he's making as a punt returner are the kind that show a heart. Reminds me of a old Philadelphia Eagle I used to see, Faisal Kahima, who was one of the toughest guys to bring down, and he caught it under any circumstance.
Cardinals start out of center territory. Jennings has it, tries to cut back against the grain, but can't do it on a good open field tackle by Inglewood. And it should go for about a yard. So Jennings gains about a yard. It'll be second down, or they call it gain. Check that of a yard. So it'll be second down and 11 from the 39-yard line. Justin Collins over his center, and that's big Miguel Amezquita. Gets it to Kenny Martin. Martin spins around, gets up to the original line of scrimmage, maybe gets a yard more. So it'll be 3rd down and at least 8 yards to go.
Mark in looking for the big opportunity. There seemed to have been a lot of real estate out to the left of him, but he chose to turn it up and inside. Unfortunately, the Sentinels were sitting on that play and stopped him after a short gain.
5 minutes even with the clock counting left to go in the 3rd quarter. Glad you joined on Lawndale Hawthorne Community Television, Channel 22. Along with Charity Bailey on the field and Rufus Washington to my right, I'm Lou Stowers. Collins hands the ball back, breaks a tackle, 2 tackles, and was fortunate to lose just a yard on that play, Rufus.
So they're going to go 3 and out on this particular drive as that bring up what should be a 4th down play. Lou, it's going to be 4th, and that was a -6. Ended up losing a net loss of a yard out of those 3 downs.
So they'll punt the ball away, and hopefully, as you see Kenny Martin fighting his way back just to the 40-yard line.
Now, I'll tell you, one of the things that I'm seeing, Lou, on that very last play is the Inglewood pursuit is so fast and furious that they're almost primed to bite on a screen.
Friday is going to kick it.
Tries a pooch kick, except it pooches against him for the most.
And falling on the ball at the 31-yard line is the Sentinels.
And that's one of the things I see Coach Padilla saying, son, you kick, oh, you don't. Because I'm sitting there thinking, why is he pooch kicking down to the 40 instead of kicking him away? Kicking it away, trying to pin him inside the 20.
Especially when you got a guy with an arm back there like Brown and a guy with a kick like DeAndre.
So a bad decision by the kicker, Andrade. Let's see if his defense can get out of it.
Brown gives it to Birdsong, as met right there in the backfield, and a good tackle by number 68, Armando Villa.
And you're right, that was an excellent tackle by Villa. Villa is one of the larger guys on this team at 230, 5'9", 230, 5'11", 222. They list him near. They picked up a couple of pounds since they took that shot.
Well, you got to go to the training table, right? So it'll be 2nd down and 9 yards to go. Brown gives it to Birdsong, squeaks away from one up to the 40, 45, gets away from another, all the way to midfield and into Cardinal territory. Not only does this kid have speed, he has some power too. Check that, that's not Birdsong. That's Devontae Green.
No, we've got an injured Cardinal on the field. The coaching staff goes out to attend to him. One of the things that happened now, again, with that just did it, Green, was that, boy, once he breaks through that initial line, as you'll see,
nice opened up Wood, but Green, as you can see, he's a lot bigger than Birdsong. 1, 2, 3, finally is brought down.
Jennings does a good job of laying his body on the line to at least slow him down to allow a teammate to get in the final stop.
That was Deshaun Hodges who did make the final stop. He's trying to find out what the number is of the injured Cardinal. And of course, we hope it's not too serious. This is our first game of the season, and happy that you joined us. We've got a lot of games, a lot of good teams, and a whole lot of fun.
Also gives us a chance to remind you fans that these broadcasts, you can see them each Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. So set the old VCR. If you're going to miss one, catch another one. Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, 10 7 p.m. Game of the week is Sean on Hawthorne Lawndale Community Cable Channel 22.
People still have VCRs?
A couple of people do. I know I do. But
Well,
then again, I'm a little slow on the technology front.
Yeah,
so.
I finally figured where to plug my computer in.
There you go. You're off to the races now.
Oh, man, I tell you. I'm still figuring out with all that carbon paper I've got left.
Right, yeah. It's only now. It's not much use for it. But speaking of carbon paper, now here's something the fans will be interested in. They can also the website.
Yeah.
They didn't have that around when you were growing up.
No, just spider webs when I was growing up.
www.lawndalecity.org. And there are links at that website. One, you can see the program at the website, www.lawndalecity.org. And you can also subscribe to the e-guide. And looks like we're seeing that the injured player down on the field and now sitting up. That's Galvis Cam. Wow, that's real good to see him get up.
Let's hope that not that tender left knee. And he is in some pain. So Galvis doing a good job today on both sides of the ball, has one touchdown. That's first half for the Cardinals, and he is, I believe, done for the evening as he's going to go off on the golf cart.
And you know, it's fortunate that they've got that kind of resource here, which can certainly help to minimize injury because he's not having to put additional stress on it. They give him a short ride here to the bench where he'll get a little more attention from the training staff.
So it'll be 1st and 10 from the 49-yard line of the Cardinals after the big 25-yard run, as now the ball is taken and down to the 40-yard line. Runner gets away down to the 10 and into the end zone for a touchdown. That was Dante Havis as he goes in from 49 yards out. Dante Hayes.
But Dante Hayes is a touchdown.
Yeah. And 6 points. Man. What happened to Birdsong? Him back. Where did he go? All of a sudden you bring out two other guys and they Birdsong one bit. Hayes is 5'8", 136 pounds, just a junior.
Who's also the backup quarterback for them. And if we do look at, if we have a chance to see the replay, what you'll see is that was just broken. Gosh, I mean, one of the few breakdowns tonight by the Cardinal defense. There are a number of guys who got their hands on him and didn't bring him down, and that will hurt you every time.
Well, also what hurt was not having Galvis Can out there as well at one of the linebacker positions. So right away, the Sentinels answer. When the Sentinels have scored the past couple of times, the Sentinels have come right back.
Well, they did, Lou, with 2:03 left in the third. You're right, that touchdown run by Hayes extends the lead back out to 13 with the point coming up in a moment. Every time, you know, the Cardinals have been within a touchdown on 3 different occasions tonight. First down by 7, then they cut it, then they were down 14, cut it 14-7, 21-7, cut it to 14-21, and now they let them go back up by 2. So if form holds, we should expect the Cardinals to come back and score, but defensively, they're going to have to get stops. They've got to keep out of the end zone if they want to have a chance of winning this game tonight.
So the second kicker is back to try to tack on the extra 3 plays, 40 capped off by a 49-yard run. Snap back, ball down, kick is true and through. So it is 28-14. Inglewood ahead of Lawndale in the third quarter. So we'll see if the Cardinals can come back, and here's that run.
That's one broken tackle, 2, 3, 4.
And then he's just too fast to get down there.
Well, if you miss tackles, odds are the guy's going to score on you.
So both of these teams trying to wear each other out with different types of offenses. And both in the second half are doing a pretty good job of it.
Well, one of the things that it does is that it gives us a chance to see Oliveira. There you see Oliveira on your screen. Number 8, Luis Oliveira.
Been doing a good job on both sides of the ball tonight for Mando Padilla and the Cardinals.
And Oliveira clearly has a skill to break one, and right now that's the type of thing that the Cardinals use.
And that's where it goes, right to Luis. Luis gets to the 20-yard line, 25 to the 30, has one man to beat. Here comes down to the 40, down to the 30, and just does get tackled at the 30 line. A 60-yard return for Luis Oliveira, and you called it.
And contain your excitement for a second. Let's scan the field real quick. Look for some yellow down there on the stripe somewhere. There's no yellow hankies on the field. Here you see the replay. Oliveira with blazing speed, Lou.
And the only guy to catch him, guess who? The kid who scored a touchdown.
And that was because Hayes had the angle on him coming from the far side. But what more can you ask of your kickoff guy than to return it with 50, 60, 70, a 68-yard off return at the goal line, and has brought it all the way deep into Sentinel territory.
The 28-yard line. Collins has the ball, still has it, and is brought down. Looking for a man downfield.
It was a good run by Collins. Once again, as I said in the first half, Collins has to make that decision a little bit quicker. Am I going to run? That time, I think if he had made the decision to run, he had more yardage in front of him because he would have been focused on that. He was still looking to see if there was a receiver out there. As a consequence, he picked up 3 on the play. Good positive momentum. Could have had more, though, I think.
Martin and Oliveira come into the game now for the Cardinals, bringing play from Padilla. And it'll be second down and 6 yards to go, 7 yards to go. So the Cardinals need to answer right back. Ball was handed off to Martin. Gets to the 25-yard line, right about the line of scrimmage.
Martin right now running between the tackles, Lou. I think he needs to get outside the tackles, get to the edge, and try to turn it up. That's where his strength really is.
Certainly is. As he's trying to replace Khan on the play, but actually now.
And Martin comes up
gets
limping.
A little gimpy. And he comes out. So let's hope that he's okay.
Oh, he certainly has to be. Kid has a lot of heart. There you see some activity in the stands.
Oh, here comes, it sure is down on the field. First down is made now by the Cardinals.
Some of the usual in the stands nonsense.
Yep,
of course, we'll keep our attention focused right here on the game at hand and let staff security handle that part of it.
Tawan Jennings with a 15-yard run to make it 1st and goal as the third quarter comes to an end. No one's getting hurt down there, or got hurt down there.
Horn does signal the end of the third, and after 3, our score stands 28-14 in favor of the Sentinels from Inglewood. But Cardinals have the football, and they're on the march, and they've made win, lose, or draw for the first game out the box to start the season. They've made a pretty good showing for themselves thus far, and they still are in a position to win this game.
They have a lot to build on from this game, Rufus, like you're saying, and let's hope that they can going into this tough Pioneer League. This next week,
Lawndale
has as at Sierra Vista, then Bishop Montgomery, then Culver City, California High School out of Whittier, and then Pioneer League starts with El Segundo at El Segundo.
But suffice to say, fans, we'll have plenty of South Bay football coming to you during the course of the season. Coverage every week of the season, Lou. We'll be here. We'll either be here at Lawndale or around the corner at Lusinger or up the street at Hawthorne High. So to see all their favorite South Bay teams right here on Hawthorne Community Cable Channel 22.
That would be the South Bay trifecta. As now going into the end zone, scoring a touchdown is Trevon Thomas. From 9 yards out, the Cardinals do answer. It's 28-20.
And Trevon Thomas on the why? Because of the injury to Kenny Martin, who came off the field limping. Kid gets an opportunity and he makes the most of it.
So 11:53 is the time of the touchdown. A 5-play drive. And here's our man, Miguel Amezquita.
Oh, that one may have been wide, that was the old Florida State wide right. And that was a huge miss, though, but you do have the 2-point opportunity. That miss makes it a 28-20 game. Cardinals still within a touchdown. Good run there, as we said, by Travion Thomas, I should say. Travion just made his moms and pops real proud.
That's right, and they're probably yelling at me for saying Trevon. So a 9-yard run by Travion Thomas makes it 28-20. And the Cardinals' ground game, could it be wearing the Inglewood Sentinels a little thin? So now the Cardinals come out, going to kick the ball off to Inglewood with 11:53 left to go.
So, again, we talked about it earlier. I'm going to mention it again because it's going to be a key weapon. Here's the kickoff by their excellent kicker,
Amezquita. Had a lot of scoring here. Collins started off the scoring for the Cardinals at the 7:46 mark with that 54-yard pass to Scott. Then Inglewood answered with the Hayes 49-yard run. Then Thomas with a 9-yard run as Amezquita's boot into it. Ball is picked up at around the 6-yard line. And good Cardinals defense on the return keeps them in behind the 30-yard line, up to about the 29-yard line.
At about the 29, a net difference of 9 yards over his other kicks that sailed into the end zone.
So 11:45 left to go in the ball game. Cardinals, like you say, missed a big opportunity with that missed extra point. So they've been scoring quite a bit as the fourth quarter is underway. And an exciting ball game to start off our season.
Very exciting ball game. Exactly the way we like to do it to you fans here on Hawthorne Lawndale Community Cable Channel 23 as there's a flag on the play. It's an offside call against the Cardinal. That's going to make 1st and 5.
So you don't want to see that happen too often, that's for sure. The coach never wants to see that, a 1st and 5 opportunity.
Now there appears to be a little bit of confusion between the officiating crew. I think one judge was indicating that he thought it was that he had called it the other way.
And now they are marching the other way. Or at least back to the original line of scrimmage. Yep. John Lundquist says, it is my bad, he says. It's offsides on the offense.
So the crew gets together and they get it right, and that actually moves the Sentinels back inside the 25-yard line.
So it'll be first down and 15 from the 20-yard line, 25-yard line. As there goes Birdsong, gets the first down back. He's at the 50-yard line, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown Inglewood.
Wow.
A 75-yard score again for DeAndre Birdsong.
With no flags on. Well, there is a flag. There's a flag back here at just inside the Cardinal 50.
It's at about the 39-yard line. And is there another one there around the 50-yard line as well? Let's get a preliminary here from referee Lundquist. That's coming back.
Wow.
Let's go down to Charity Bailey.
All right, we've got two more key injuries. One to Gelvis Can with a tweaked knee, and one to Tawan Jennings with a shoulder injury. Tawan will return to the game. Gelvis Can will sit out the rest of the game until the team doctors can figure out exactly what's wrong with him. They were both nagging injuries that have been re-injured during the game. I did hear the coaches, though, telling the players to keep your head in the game. The injuries are a minor setback, but they're still in the game with one touchdown within each other. So they're staying in the game, they're keeping their heads there, and they're going to continue to try to score. Back to you.
Thank you, Charity. With 11:13 left to go, so the touchdown is called back. And it'll be first down. They're still calling it first down as the ball is handed off again. First down, and then some up to about the 47-yard line. And that was their Robert Newhouse type back, Deontay Green. So Green with the first down.
With the first down, Lou, and once again, a tackling, good stiff arm there by Green, although Collins stayed with it and was able to bring him down.
Says 23 yards on that play.
Cardinal defense really needing a stiffen right now.
And they do right there. That's all right. I defer to you and your superior intelligence.
And there was a flag that came in by the side judge.
But a good play on pursuit by the Cardinals. They didn't give up after giving up the big running play. I do believe it's going to be Inglewood again. And a sign of this many penalties as the game goes on the personal foul against the Cardinals, they call it this time. Maybe a late hit.
A late hit, and you're giving away 15 yards.
So I take everything back there as it's going to be first down and 10 from inside the Cardinals' 40-yard line, all the way down to about the 37. So excellent field position now for the Sentinels with one in the backfield for Inglewood. They give it to Birdsong. Birdsong gets to the 30, another missed tackle. Finally, they catch up to him about the 25-yard line.
It would seem to me at some point, Lou, you're going to have to sell out defensively. I think they're going to have to bring everybody up on the line or close to it and put 7 or 8 guys up in the box, because right now, Inglewood, as they have on several occasions, and we see Birdsong again here, virtually running at will and getting deep into the secondary before they're being brought down, and sometimes not being brought down by Cardinal players at all, but rather by penalties.
Well, it's those big guys up front for Inglewood are really opening the hole now for the running backs of Inglewood. Brown trying to get the Cardinals offside. It's first down and 10. Gives the ball off now to Green. Green gets down to the 15, the 10, bulls his way inside the 10, down to the 8-yard line.
Cardinal players attempting to strip the ball. Not a bad idea. You got to do something to try to force some turnovers. Of course, the downside when you go for strips is that you often don't make effective tackles.
And they're really adding insult to injury with Green out there, who's just a fireplug of a kid. Could probably block for himself, he's so big. But he just goes right through, making people miss, carrying people with him. Takes 1, 2, and finally 3 people to bring him down. Another gain of about 16 yards. So timeout is called. As Deontay Green is listed at 5'8", 203 pounds, and is a junior. So he has another year to wreak havoc on defenses. So we have one of those dreaded double personal foul penalties.
Exactly. Boy, I got to tell you, these guys have used some interesting mechanics tonight. I've got to go back and get my football officials book because some of these I haven't fully understood for as long as I've been doing this. Well, missed tackle, Lou. And another missed tackle as the guy churns through.
Birdsong.
You can already see what the coaching staff will be working on in practice come next week because net, they've done some good things out here on the field, but it's the little things that have harmed them in this game in particular, and I think the tackling has been very sloppy.
Well, almost making the tackle inside was Dion Reed. Just missed getting Birdsong right at the handoff. Handoff now is made again, a quick handoff. Good defense by the Cardinals as they stack up the man, Dante Hayes. So Hayes with no gain and good red zone defense shown by the Cardinals.
He's coming up just a little bit gimpy himself. My guess would be, and sometimes you got to be able to see that, is that they aren't going to hand it to him, so I would key on somebody else. Of course, that's real easy when they got Birdsong back there in the backfield, and it's just about an even money bet that that's who's going to get the ball.
It's 3rd down and goal as Brown hands the ball off. Banging almost down to the goal line is Birdsong. Birdsong getting about 3 yards on that carry. So it'll be 4th and goal from the 1.
And this kid Birdsong is a good-looking back, Lou. I must admit, I've been impressed. First of all, this Lawndale team is no slouch. I mean, he will be running like this come league play when they take on some of the other Ocean League opponents, including Santa Monica, Beverly Hills, Hawthorne, and so forth. So we may see this team again. I'd love to see them. I don't know if we have them on the schedule in that October 28th matchup against Hawthorne.
That would be fun to see how this team comes along.
And guess what? We have it. October 28th.
An early
Inglewood
Christmas.
at Hawthorne.
An early Christmas for you.
It'll be an interesting matchup to see. I mean, you know, it's early in the season. You don't know how much of this is fool's gold and how much of it is the real deal for either football team.
Sure. Plus, it's the first game of the season. There's got to be a lot of jitters on both sides.
And these two teams are fairly evenly matched. I started talking about that a little bit earlier because I did talk to Coach Padilla about the strategy in the preseason scheduling, where coaches get to choose the teams that they want to play. And one of the things obviously was not just scheduling cream puff. Not their thing. They want to play teams that they feel they should be competitive with. So they aren't going to go out and schedule modern day and people like that, but they are going to schedule the likes of the teams that you see on their schedule with the expectation that they should be able to play even Steven with those kind of teams. And I think they've done that tonight by and large.
And it's 4th down, a big test coming up here. 4th down, goal to go from the 1-yard line for Inglewood. Hand off up the middle, and they do stop him originally. Birdsong is in. They call him in for the touchdown, but not without a fight.
They call him in with the touchdown. The Cardinal fans a little disappointed And I think properly so, because the question becomes, at what play has the forward progress been stopped? They contend that it wasn't stopped, and again, perhaps one of the things to consider was the size of the offensive line of the Sentinels versus that defensive line for the Cardinals. As we see the replay here, Bergson hits the hole. Now, you could argue that he stopped right there.
Good stop underneath by number 86,
actually he's being pulled. See, that actually is illegal. This guy here, the side judge there, should be making that call.
Tyrone Wilmington made a good stop initially for the Cardinals. Well, lots of flags go, as so does the kicker. He just gets plastered by Thomas. Travion Thomas took out a little bit of your frustration on the kicker.
Yeah. Travion Thomas with a huge hit there. A good hit by Travion. And one of the things that I saw in that last play, I think essentially the officials had already whistled play dead. I mean, but the players kept going.
That's right, kicker or no, he's going to zip the guy with the ball. So Birdsong, that's a break actually for the Cardinals, because now they're down by 2 touchdowns and 2 extra points, 34-27.
2 touchdowns, 2 extra points. You're right. They've got
34-20.
They've still got an opportunity, and we still got plenty of time. There's 6:25, and as we watch the special units team come out, like most fans, I'm looking for one guy in particular to head out there on the field.
Number 8?
Number 8, Oliveira.
Well, I see Rashad Scott.
Oliveira over on the far side.
There he is. Let's see if the left-footed kicker for Inglewood will get it to him. But for Birdsong, that was his 4th touchdown of the night.
A career night.
I think that's more than I had in my career.
Why? Well, actually, it's more than we both had combined in our career.
Guess who gets the ball? Oliveira gets it at about the 10-yard line, runs into a wall, and is buried at about the 23-yard line. So a 13, 14-yard return for Luis, as Inglewood's finally getting the idea that kick it to number 8, you better.
And I'm not so sure that somewhere along the way, as this season progresses, Lou, that we may not see Oliveira back there in the backfield 1 or 2 times.
He's been back there only twice, 2 carries for 0 yards. As he does come back into the play.
Now, if you're Inglewood, what they'll do, and again, with their head coach Charles Mincy, he of the NFL experience, particularly on the defensive side, is that I think Inglewood will start dropping guys back in defensive coverage just a little bit more, as they're going to be expecting.
Justin Collins hands the ball off.
And complete that thought. They ran it on that play. They're going to be expecting more passing from the Cardinals, because they've got to make up 2 touchdowns in under 6 minutes.
Tawan Jennings with a 4-yard gain. It'll be 2nd down. Make that a 3-yard gain. 2nd down and 7 yards to go. So just trying to get something going and get on down the field, as the Cardinals have some work to do. As Jennings takes the ball again. Gets up to close to the 35 line. So it'll be 3rd down and call it 2 yards to go.
It's 3rd and short, a good situation for him. If you're going to run the ball this much, you've got to play more of a hurry-up offense, quite frankly.
So a 6-yard gain for Jennings with 5:10 to go. 3rd down, a big 3rd down for the Cardinals, as they were confused in the backfield as Luis Oliveira had the ball, but it's going to be all for naught.
It'll be all for naught. There was an illegal shift, as you had two players moving simultaneously.
Bit of a confusion on opening nights. as Joseph Andrade was out there. And now you don't want to see that as Luis Oliveira is down on the ground with his shoe off, holding on to his left leg. And that is not good news.
Not at all. Injury starting to mount for the Cardinals in this contest. We already saw Galvis Can go out. Now Oliveira
and Kenny Martin
with the injury, and Martin, of course, also injured as well. 3 key players for the Cardinals, and they can ill afford injuries at this stage of the contest or at all. They're a fairly thin squad, Lou. They only dress out about 31 guys. That's not a whole lot. So your margin of error is very thin. And more importantly, we always, first and foremost, want to see all these young men compete and get out of each one of these contests with the least amount of injury as possible.
That's absolutely for sure. And it's 3 running backs. You can't afford to lose any one of them. But now we need to find out if Luis Oliveira is going to be okay, as he's over on the far sideline now. Gets up on his own power, and that's good. And he's favoring his left foot as he comes off now. But his right shoe is taken off. So it must have been some wicked tackle over there on the far sideline. And there you see some toughness by Luis Oliveira. He says, I'm running off of here in my own power. The 5'7" senior wide receiver, running back, kick returner. Now he gets off the sideline there and says, okay, now I can sit down right here. Oh, yeah. So Luis takes his seat. Luis, Kenny, and Galvis have left the building, unfortunately, with 4:50 left. And it is 4th down and 2 yards to go. The Cardinals are going to go for it. From their own 32-yard line, Collins hands the ball off, and going nowhere but backward is the ball. Did the ball go loose? It did.
It looks like it did, and the Sentinels take over. It was a 4th down play anyway. The Cardinals had come up short on the 1st down attempt. Sentinels now get the ball with 4:31 left.
Larry Lockett with the fumble recovery, and it'll be 1st and 10 for Inglewood.
And unless
that'll be inside the 30-yard line at about the 29-yard line.
The Sentinels have got to force a turnover. As we see the replay here, once he hit it up the middle, it looked like it was just stripped from him.
There was just a runaway truck coming up the middle. So Brown will start things off for Inglewood. Fakes the handoff. Now gets it to his tight end on the tight end screen, and watch him rumble down inside the 5, and touchdown for Inglewood.
Touchdown for Inglewood. Missed tackle on that play by Collins, the quarterback. Can't much blame him for that. I mean, he had the big guy coming at him. He did go for the shoestring tackle, which was the right thing to do, just that there was no shoe or string there when he went for the tackle.
Cameron Graham runs 6'4", 237 pounds. I'm not getting in his way, that's for sure. When he gets running downhill like this.
Good block out there by number 57 for him.
And there was just no way that old Justin Collins was going to tackle him there. Forget it. He gave it a good high school try, though.
Well, he did give it a good try. That wasn't exactly the Deion Sanders Matador tackling. All right. I mean, he put his body in front of him. He went low. I like to see that. Again, as I said, and I can't tell you enough, fans, although I scored now 41-20, this game is essentially, the outcome is no longer in doubt, I would say. But I still have to say I'm seeing good things by both of these teams. One, we can congratulate the Sentinel team. Last year, these kids went 0-10. This year, they're going to open the season with a win. So that's a huge momentum builder for them. And the Cardinals on the other side of the fence, Lou, I think have a number of positives that they can take away from a contest like this. Some things got away from them, but I can tell you, Manny Padilla will have them in practice on Monday. And if you were to see them next Friday night, I'll guarantee they'd be a better tackling team than you saw tonight.
And some good news for the Cardinals. Luis Oliveira is back to receive the kick on the far side. That's great news, along with Tawan Jennings. Oliveira's going to take it at about his 10-yard line, gets up to the 20, fight his way up, and gets through everything all the way to the 20, actually the 34-yard line. So a nice 24-yard return by Luis Oliveira after almost getting his foot screwed off.
Well, he comes through, he uses that speed to break through the wedge. The wedge was set up perfectly, and man, he hit it right at the diamond point of it and nearly came out the other end. And if he had broken through one more tackle, he'd have had 6 in front of him.
Let's watch him come up right into that wedge, break through, get pinballed around, and just couldn't get out of the reach.
Got to give a little man a lot of credit, boy. As you can see there, it took, what, 3, 4, 5 guys to bring him down.
Here comes Jennings trying to get around a man. Does at the 30-yard line, turns in to about the line of scrimmage, and that's about it.
Cardinals would appear to be at this point continuing to work on their strengths, preparing for their next contest and for down the road. One, getting Jennings some additional work in this contest, as it looks like Martin, and Martin is here on the sideline.
Oliveira is also on the sideline, and Can is gone into the locker room, that's for sure. Is now getting away is Jennings to the 40-yard line for a gain of about 6-7 yards.
And actually, that may have been Travion Thomas on that carry. Yeah, that was Travion with that carry.
So Thomas with a touchdown tonight. It'll be 3rd down and about 3 yards to go. So the Cardinals just want to keep the ball moving. Maybe we can make the score a little bit more respectable before the siren sounds. Get a touchdown, maybe make something happen on defense. There's a first down by Thomas to the 45-yard line. Fumble. Who is it recovered by? Looks like Inglewood might have the opportunity to have the ball. But there's a white helmet and a green helmet down there. And coming up with the ball is Inglewood.
Inglewood, although it would appear apparently the side judge saw it as incidental. I thought I saw a face mask on the play, or at least the hand of one of the Sentinel players make contact with the face mask of the Lawndale Cardinal. However, call wasn't made. There it is right there.
Deontay Green with the fumble recovery. So there's some hitting going on down there with less than 2 minutes left to go.
Less than 2 minutes, and so now a victory of a different sort in mind for the Cardinals. They certainly want to keep the Sentinels out of the end zone anymore tonight.
Brown wanting to go for it right now as his receiver falls down. And that was Richardson on the long pass, but some good defense on the play by number 33, Tawan Jennings. Stayed right with his man.
Now, I'm not quite sure how Coach Padilla is perceiving all of this. Maybe feels like Inglewood is perhaps rubbing it in. I don't know, but when you got 41 points on the board, a 21-point lead with just about a little over a minute and a half left, and you're still going deep, that might be pouring a little salt in the old wound.
Might be, but then these kids on the other side have not won a game in a long time either.
Well, it'll still only go down as 1 win tonight. It won't go down as 8 or 9 wins, no matter how many points you score.
There goes Green down the sideline, the far sideline, inside the 20-yard line. And a penalty flag around the 40-yard line of the Cardinals.
And now you got another player that's just been ejected. From the indication I saw, it looks like the side judge just threw out number 77. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. From the motion I saw, the old heave-ho motion we saw early, looked like he told him to leave, but.
Let's see what John Lundquist has to say about it. Personal foul against Inglewood. So we're going to bring it back. So that's a sign of inexperience. So it goes back to the 45-yard line as the handoff, the delayed handoff, was to Green there. Finally waited for some room, and then he was just gone.
He was gone. That there you see, now that's the play that came back. Of course, we don't have it in our screen. The personal foul occurred back near the original line of scrimmage between one of the offensive linemen, big number 77, Lamont Rogers.
2nd down and 26 from their own 44-yard line. Brown back to pass. Is hit as he fires the ball and was almost picked off. Some good defense on the blitz by number 25, Deshaun Hodges of the Cardinals. And we'll be back right after this. It's 41-20 Inglewood over Lawndale. And in a blink of an eye, Deontay Green almost gets all 26 yards back. It's 4th down and about 3 yards to go. So a 23-yard gain by Green when this will be the last play of the ball game.
And again, it's a tale basically of poor tackling by the Cardinal defense. Hopefully they'll get out of this one. With this being the last play, there's about 3 seconds left. I think the officials will judiciously let the clock expire. And with the expiration of time, the final 41-20 in favor of the Sentinels. Last year, they go 0-10. This year, they start out with the opportunity to go 10-0. What a remarkable turnaround. Of course, it's only one win. They're still a long way away. The Cardinals, Lou, looked good at times down the stretch. I think fatigue and some other things because of the size of this team just set in on them and wore them down.
Just kind of wore. You're absolutely right, especially the third quarter coming in out of actually it was some good things going for the Cardinals in the third quarter, but they just couldn't keep it up against the bigger, faster Inglewood team. This is something that I always like to see, even though you're out there tooth and nail against the guy across from you. You give him a low five and say thanks for coming over.
Exactly.
But some good things, and hopefully the injuries will come up good. The injury situation will turn around and be good for the Cardinals, as Kenny Martin did not finish the game after having a terrific first half, and then he was being keyed on in the second half by Inglewood. Then also Galvis Can with a knee injury. Let's see if he can survive that. And then also injured even before the game in pregame warm-ups, Gade Asanza was injured. Re-injured his knee in pregame warm-ups, didn't even get out there for opening night. So that's disappointing for the 5'6" sophomore who was scheduled to start at linebacker and could have plugged some holes tonight. So let's hope that he is not on the shelf for too long.
Well, I tell you, Lou, first of all, let's thank our sponsors again, Holiday Inn Express and South Bay Workforce Investment Board, for helping to bring this broadcast to us, and remind the fans that they can see this contest on Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. But if we go back for a moment to talk about the positives of the Cardinal team. First of all, their kicking game. Amazakita is an excellent kicker. I mean, I just came away impressed with him. He's going to make a difference somewhere down the road. His kicking ability is going to make a difference in this game. Their ability to respond, by and large, was also good. The running game was pretty effective. They at least saw one good pass there from Collins to Scott to know that they can throw the ball, all right, and they don't have to be totally dependent on it. So with the positives that they'll take away, even though it was a 3-touchdown loss, I think there's a good season ahead for this team.
Hopefully we'll see some more of that passing game from Justin Collins as he gets a little bit more confidence in that left arm of his. We will have a report from down on the field from Charity Bailey as soon as she finds somebody to talk to or wants to talk to somebody. And for this Inglewood team, it's going to be a year for these Sentinels to really gain on something with the man that can really lead them to the next level in their new coach.
And we congratulate Coach Mincy, as you said, for getting a victory in his head coaching debut here. His team came out well prepared. I mean, they've got a couple of key players that are just outstanding. As we mentioned, Birdsong being first and foremost among them. I mean, the guy was just outstanding. And it will be interesting to see. And we will have that game because, I mean, I just love watching these teams grow and develop to see once they play a team like Hawthorne, and it's going to be late in the season, how actually good they really are.
And we'll be looking forward to that one. And I know that you have the broadcast the broadcast schedule, Rufus, so let's find out who we're going to see. I know that we have a volleyball game coming up next week. It's the big rivalry game already, just a couple of weeks into the season. And who's that going to be?
Well, the volleyball game is going to be Lawndale and Lusinger. In fact, we'll have 2 volleyball games before we get back to football next Tuesday and Thursday. Lawndale at Lusinger in girls volleyball, and then Hawthorne at Lawndale. But the Mayor's Cup is next Friday. Annual contest between Lusinger and Hawthorne, between the Olympians and the Cougars. This year it'll be over at Olympian Field at Lusinger High School. And the 2 mayors will be there, and Lusinger will be trying to hold on to that trophy yet again.
Well, let's see if they can do it. Says tonight's game was a good game, although a lopsided ending, 41-20, has 4 touchdowns by Birdsong. DeAndre Birdsong was just too much for the Cardinals of Lawndale, and unfortunately getting out of this game a little bit banged up. And like we said earlier, hopefully the injury bug stays away from this team, because they are a pretty talented group and really showed a lot of heart, especially towards the end of the ball game with that goal line stand, to seemingly hold Birdsong on that 4th touchdown, but he did squeeze in.
And you don't want to see any of these guys get hurt, Lou, but I'll tell you, the one injury that I think probably hurt their effort more than anything else was to Gelvis Can. I think that, I mean, you know, the guy brings a certain intensity level that he's able to lift his teammates around him, and when he went out, that kind of deflated the team, because they showed that although Martin went out, they came back with Travion Thomas running the ball and Tawan Jennings running the ball fairly effectively. But the loss of Can hurt more on the defensive side also, because he's definitely their defensive stopper.
Gelvis finished the day with 6 carries, 28 yards and a touchdown. But I think more than not, Rufus, is that the defensive side of the ball, you really didn't see him because he was trying to plug up that middle. And I think he did a pretty effective job there, and that's when Inglewood started to pound the middle and get more yards up the middle.
Absolutely did. The thing, as I said before, they'll be working on in practice undoubtedly are their tackling skills, because they just let too many guys get away.
And with the final score again, 41-20, Inglewood over Lawndale, and Mondo Padilla is down with Charity Bailey.
Okay, Coach. The team lost 41-20, but we spoke earlier today and you mentioned that the team is young and inexperienced. So how did that play into that?
Oh, it was huge. We're so young. There was times out there where we had 6 sophomores, 3 juniors, maybe only a couple of seniors, and it was most of their first time ever playing varsity. So we kept fighting, and we're going to get better. We're just going to keep working hard, and that's about it. Our inexperience showed. We got to work on our tackling, obviously, and just hope to get better next week.
So how do you plan on bouncing back from the injuries that were suffered? A lot of them, I was told, were nagging injuries, not very serious, but what's going to go on with that for next week?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how banged up we are, but we'll just, get them in for treatment tomorrow, and other guys might have to step up. Hopefully they're not seriously injured. I don't really know about the injuries. I'll see now.
So what do you say to your guys to bounce back for next week?
No, just that this was a learning experience. It was our first game. Most of them have never played varsity, but they fought the whole way, and we just need to work. We just need to work harder in practice, and we'll be all right. All right, thank you.
All right. As we see, we had a loss tonight, but they plan on bouncing back. Next week, we'll be covering Lusinger at Hawthorne, or Hawthorne at Lusinger for the Mayor's Cup. So we'll see you then. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Charity. Good job down there on the field, and you could see the disappointment in Coach Mondo Padilla, but, well, they're going to come back next week strong.
And I'll tell you the one thing that he said, and he's right. There were two things he said that's critical for the fans to understand. First of all, they're a young, inexperienced team, but by golly, they fought, and they fought hard until it just wore down. The second thing was, as I've been saying, so that you guys want to think, what I'm talking about, and that was that the tackling was poor. And he admitted that. But as a coach, that's what you have to do. You've got to see what you've got to work on Monday through Thursday to get your guys ready for the next contest. So keeping their spirits up, keeping them motivated is thing number one. Getting out there on the practice field next week and working on tackling. That'll be number two.
All right, Rufus, next time I'll see you on the football field and the gridiron will be for the Mayor's Cup. So hopefully they're spit shining the thing up, and we're going to show it off and tell some history and some old lang syne of some Mayor's Cups gone by, and then it'll be Hawthorne Singer, and that's going to be a good one.
It's always a good one. I would suggest don't wear blue and don't wear cardinal. Fans will know which side you're on.
All right.
Better wear green next week or something like that. All right. Lou, is always a real pleasure working with you. Take us home.
You are the man. For Charity Bailey and Rufus Washington and the crew of Channel 22 Sports, I'm Lou Stowers telling you the final score once again in our maiden voyage for 2005-2006. Inglewood led by Birdsong's 4 touchdowns, 41-20 over Lawndale. For everybody at Lawndale Hawthorne Community Television, Channel 22, so long. The preceding presentation of this Channel 22 Sports Game of the Week was brought to you in part by a generous donation from the Holiday Inn Express Hotel and Suites, South Bay. The Holiday Inn Express is partnering with Channel 22 Sports to help promote our young people in sports competition and academics so that everyone in our community wins. The Holiday Inn Express Hotel and Suites. Stay smart. The preceding presentation of this Channel 22 Sports Game of the Week was brought to you in part by a generous donation from the South Bay Workforce Investment Board. The South Bay Workforce Investment Board is working together with Channel 22 Sports to promote an environment where everyone can maximize their career potential and so that all employers have the human resources they need to grow and prosper. The South Bay Workforce Investment Board. When you need us, we are there for you.